Welcome to the Jeff Miller Show. Each week, Jeff Miller of the Jeff Miller Consulting Alliance talks with Podcast Village host Charlie Burney about trends in business, consulting, and much more. The Consulting Alliance offers strategic counsel and tactical support to businesses, corporations, and nonprofit organizations in the Washington, D.C. area and beyond.
Well, here we are on a beautiful, steamy, hot Friday afternoon at Podcast Village with Jeff Miller. How are you this afternoon,
Charlie,
Jeff?
I'm great. How are you, my friend?
I'm even better because you have brought for me today a guest, and it's not just you and me. So can you please get right off of you and me and introduce your guest for us?
Absolutely.
It's very nice. Thank you.
Absolutely. So Becky Briggs, our Gift Biz, is with us today. And you know, with any business, it's really important who's your internal team and then who's your external team.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started the business, these many years ago, 14 or so, whenever I would sign a new client, I would always send a gift. And then I think it was about 11 years ago where you came to a workshop of mine.
That's right.
And so I started working with Becky. And one of the first clients I had her send a gift basket, was an attorney who I'm still working with to this day. And here's the reason why I work with Becky. Becky always wants to know a little bit about the client, what they like, what their hobbies are. And with this particular client, amongst other things, I said he's an aficionado of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln, and Walt Whitman. That's all she needed. The next day...
So you don't need a whole lot to work with. You're just taking a... did you ever read the book Blink?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking of you right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And here's the power. The next week, I walk into this attorney's office, and on his wall, there's a picture of Lincoln, some Civil War stuff, of Walt Whitman, and right below that is the poem Captain, O Captain, a pewter frame. That was 7 or 8 years ago. That frame is still there. He's moved offices. That gift is still there. And that's the very essence of who Becky is and how Becky not just runs her business, but lives her business. So I just wanted to bring you in sort of to reward you a little bit for all the help you've been.
Isn't that nice?
I love it.
Just to...
well, Jeff knows that I like meeting people. So I've looked at your website. So for the listening public, can you tell us what we're talking about? It's pretty cool.
You know, I started our Gift Biz, and thank you, by the way, for having me today.
Thank you.
What a pleasure. This is a blast. I started our Gift Biz 16 years ago, and I came from the corporate world. I worked for Booz Allen for 20 years and kind of retired from Booz Allen to start this business, and I had no idea I was going to do as many gift baskets as I do. I thought it was going to be gifts, hence our Gift Biz. But long story short, we found that in reaching out and understanding who our target market was, that our whole business plan changed a bit. That we actually found business owners and corporations that needed us for a multitude of reasons, not just gifts and gift baskets, but really messaging. And how you get that message out there is really important to them. And I didn't know how important that would be when I first started this. Hence Jeff's story. You know, he needed something that was meaningful, memorable, and lasting for this client. And when he talked about Walt Whitman, I knew immediately what we needed to do. Because that was simple, and it was something that client could look at every day and think about Jeff. So the end result of gift giving in the corporate world needs to be that you stay on top of mind with your clients. And that's what we try to do with all the gifts that we send out. So,
if I can just jump in a minute for a sec. The other thing, why I knew this relationship would always work, was that Captain, O Captain also happened to be my mom's favorite poem, which you had no way of knowing.
No.
But I think, and that's awesome, but I think irregardless of that, you're getting to the heart of what Becky has created. So it's not just the number 2 or the number 5. The one's $35 and the one's $95. It's really not. Because, you know, I know a couple of those, and they're very nice people, and that's what you can get. And it's the one with the candy or the one with the fruit. And this sounds really much more exciting. It's like she's a mentor also. She's really honed in on a super talent there. So you're taking those 3 words or 4 words and making an intrinsic connection that is sort of undeniable because you're using an instinct, I'm thinking, for it. Can you tell me some of your favorites?
Well, that one is definitely one of them.
Yeah, clearly. That's a classic. Yeah.
Jeff had another client once that, and Jeff's a great client for us because he gives us just a little bit.
Don't encourage him too
No,
much.
just a little bit of what we're looking for, and then we can go to town with it, and we like doing that. So he had a client a few years ago who was a baseball, not nerd, but was really into baseball. And I had
Yes, there's nothing nerdy about Brian, just in case you're listening,
Yeah,
Brian.
right. Sorry, Brian. But who I now know, by the way, and do gifts for. But in any event, I had been to market, and I saw the cutest little baseball Weber grill. So the outside of the Weber grill is painted like a baseball.
Okay.
Okay, so it just kind of fit. So we just gift wrapped it and sent it over. And not only was Jeff appreciative, so was Brian, who I met later on. And when he found out that
you're the one. So
Yeah.
it's just,
I think, if I'm not mistaken, in that same gift, Brian and his wife had just become new parents. This beautiful little baby, Anna, who's now, I guess, 6 or 7, and he has another son. And I think we put a baby book in there as well.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you touch somebody like that, they're going to remember it for
it's so
for
much
always.
more than a bunch of flowers. You know, I'm so, but the part is that you have obviously a sort of a knack for discovering what that secret link is. I mean, it's probably easy to try and do this, but do it wrong too. So I think it's really exciting. Yeah.
It is exciting, and our clients range from small one-offs all the way to very large clients. And one of our biggest clients is in New York,
Yikes.
and they are just so much fun, much fun to talk to. I'll be seeing them in a couple of weeks when I'm in New York, and we do gifts for their clients, and a lot of gifts, hundreds and hundreds of gifts, and their clients are like AOL, Microsoft, Nike.
So how do you process hundreds and hundreds? I mean, I don't even know how to think about it.
It's daunting at first, but it's exciting at the same time.
Has it evolved for you over the year? I'm sure it's evolved many, many times, probably. And I'm dying to ask you about the sort of the marketing part of your business and the social media part. I mean, that's got to have evolved about 10 times as well.
It has. I never, ever, ever thought I'd spend this much time doing. I knew networking would be a big part of it, and I understood that, and I was up for that. I wanted that challenge.
Sure.
But social media, blogging, no. And
Why? Yeah, sure.
LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blah blah blah. It's endless what you need to do today. So
It's endless.
And none of it was there when we first started.
exactly.
Well, and for so long, because I kind of brought part of it kicking and screaming into my old company for so long, it's been like, yeah, we don't need to do that. Remember, at first, it was the old guard was saying, yeah, that's cute. It's really not necessary. And I think pretty much today everybody's saying, yeah, it's pretty necessary, And I don't think it's a discussion anymore. But I remember within the last probably 10 years, people were saying, I don't think I ever need that.
Yeah, so when the smartphone first came out, I was at a coaching conference, an international coaching conference, and one of the speakers held up this phone. It literally was brand new. I mean, most people didn't have it. He held up the phone. He said, "You see this? It's going to change and revolutionize the world that we live in," which is exactly what it's done.
And I remember a conference, it wasn't the smartphone I was at, and somebody said, as soon as these speeds speed up, it'll change everything. So when you can watch a video, because remember when we first got it, it was the telephone modem and the dial-up connection. Thank you, Jeff. And everything was herky-jerky, animated, or we didn't really have much video. And he's right; those things. But Jeff's right; it's really the mobility. But I want to know, of all those things, have you ever thought of Pinterest? Because if you're doing these, it would present so well.
Yeah, we do. We're on Pinterest also.
Shoot, I didn't know that. I should have known that.
No,
follow you right away.
No. We're on Pinterest.
It seems like I just focus on that one because that might be perfect for you.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's fun when we're dealing with clients today. We can take a picture of something that we've done for someone else, or give them an idea that's more than just my trying to explain it over the phone. And that's important, and people like that. So I love the fact that technology allows me to interact with my clients seamlessly.
Sure. I think that's the best.
And they like that too.
Yeah, sure.
So it's fun. And, to me, this whole business is about having fun.
Well, I certainly agree.
So I feel like I'm really blessed because
Shoot that at her.
I have a lot of fun with all my clients.
The Jeff Miller Show is part of the Podcast Village Network. What stories do you want to tell? If you're interested in podcasting for branding of your business or for your own personal adventures, then get in touch with us at podcastvillage@gmail.com.
I was teaching a class yesterday afternoon to, these are guys that have gotten out of prison in D.C.
Right.
And they're part of a program called the DOES, Department of Employment Services.
Okay.
And so there's about 15 guys, and they're in this entrepreneurial program. They're interested in opening up their own businesses. And one of the things, as I was going through my presentation, about that you have to have every single day. And I asked them what it was, and people, they always respond this way: water, food, money, and absolutely correct. How about fun? Every day. Because that's an ill in our society. And I'm sorry to get on my soapbox here for a second. I promise I won't be long.
It's called the Jeff Miller Show. Just saying. Just making a statement.
Because what we do in this society, certainly, Johnny could be a happy, fun little boy until he's 4 or 5 years old and he's going to school. And now it's, Johnny, you're going to school now. You're a big boy. It's about learning. This isn't about fun. It's about learning and that lesson that we carry on for the rest of our lives.
I don't think we've talked about this yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
So fun is the critical thing. Define it any way you want to.
Sure.
But it's, life is hard enough. What we do as business owners is hard enough.
Yeah.
And to not have the opportunity to have some fun every single day is just makes me really sad.
Yeah, me too.
Well, it sounds like you have fun.
I do. And my clients seem to like what we do.
It sounds like the journey is kind of fun, if I may. And I think you should, with all of your spare time, I think you should write several books about it and give some webinars and maybe start your own podcast series. So,
I want to do that. That's actually on my list, so we'll have to talk about that.
You have a message, obviously, talking about, don't you think, Jeff, talking about how you can connect people, make intrinsic connections. How are you branding? How are you marketing? How are you pushing? How are you saying, in a world where you started out with no social. I mean, I think there's a really good story about the sort of the little extra magic. Remember in New Orleans, they call it Lagniappe, which means something a little extra. And I think that's what makes her different from...
Well, and that's why I use Becky exclusively and would use nobody else, and why I tell people about her. Look, my client is getting a basket within 24 to 48 hours of having signed up with me. There's time for buyer's remorse in there. And the last thing I need...
Basket remorse. Wait, I just want to change
Did I say basket remorse? Buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse.
Okay.
And the last thing I need is for a client to get some cheesy, cheap something kind of a gift, as opposed to when I work.
Might even leave a bad impression instead of no
exactly.
impression.
So as business owners, we want to get stuff off of our plate. We want to get things out of our head.
Yeah.
And all I need to do, as I said earlier, is, hey, Becky signed this blah, blah, blah. Here's the address. These are the two things that I figured out that they like. And I don't have to think about it until my client...
So you can go back to work.
Yeah,
and you're going to make a good impression by remote
exactly.
control.
And I don't think about it until my client either calls me
and says thanks.
Or when I go in the next week and
That's
they say,
cool.
hey, that was really thoughtful. Thank you. My kids really enjoyed it, or my wife really enjoyed it, or it looks great in the beach house, or any number of the things we've done over the years.
Can I make the silly comment?
Can I stop you?
No. Is this like, so you don't know what you've given? It's like the anniversary gift. I'm so glad you like it, dear. I thought a lot about I picked that out. No, I'm kidding. Just wanted to make it real for people. I really thought hard about that particular author. With no names. There's a song by Christine Lavin, a folk singer, and she's never call your sweetheart by their name. And call them Sweetie Pie, Honey Lamb, and she goes this whole list. Very, very clever songwriter. And it's never call your sweetheart by their name. So we can cut that later, right?
Betsy, this one's up to you.
Hi, Betsy. Oh, Becky, you've gotten to know me so much already.
I know. I'm really enjoying this. This is fun.
Well, I am sincere. I think it's exciting what you're presenting and what Jeff's telling me and what the anecdotes are showing. I do think it's a magic, and you should think about all those things. Like I said, with all your spare time, you're always welcome here at the studio. Talk about packaging and branding and connecting and, intrinsic value. That's what I'm going to use the hashtag. So,
well, I definitely want to take you up on that.
Please. You know where we are. So.
I do. I do. I love the fact that I have the opportunity to speak at different workshops and seminars and talk about what I'm passionate about, which is really creating the client experience.
Okay.
And so,
if you were going to call it a class, would you call it creating the client experience?
I would.
So I'm being very forward.
Yeah, and my tagline is redefining the client experience.
Okay.
Because I love that. Yeah, I feel like if you don't have that number one in what you start every day with, you're missing a big piece of it. But I think it starts at the top, and I think it's the corporate culture.
Wow.
And I feel like when it's not there, people are going to struggle throughout the organization, no matter what role they have. But when it starts at the top and it's understood and everybody knows that the most important thing about what they do every day is the customer.
Right. When
the customer is number one, then the client experience can just organically grow and get better and better and better.
If I may, in a normal, healthy way, so that everybody is winning, which is what we're striving for. I think I'm going to learn a lot from her, Jeff, because I want to be a better. I want you to feel better about being my client too. I think there's some room for improvement here. I have not sent you a basket.
We look forward to it.
I'll be talking to Becky later about baskets. No, I think I'm going to have to give Marcus a basket because I'm going to have to fire him because I'm broke now. So I fire him every week, unfortunately, and they keep coming back because I really like having them here. So, well, that I would love to come and hear some of those if our calendars ever in alignment. I guess they're all sort of local-ish.
Yeah.
I live in Bethesda. I would love to hear that. Maybe we could tape one sometime.
That'd be good.
We're sort of excited about doing more webinars and I guess they're lunchinars and sort of trying to do more here and in other places. And I think it's a way for us to learn more and meet new people. So I'd love to hear you live because I do think it's one of the most sort of exciting things. You're really smelling it out one at a time, a really intrinsic connection. I keep going back to mine. But redefining the customer experience, I think, is a great tagline for it. I really like that. So please let me come and follow along, and I'll bring Marcus if I can. So
I would love that. Thank you.
We have a very interesting studio with just wonderful people. So, well, would you like to follow up with anything, Sir Jeff?
No, I just hope you all have a great weekend.
Hope everybody stays cool. We're going to go jump in the lake at Fort Rio, at Rio Washingtonian Center. Now, so.
I'm on my way down to Nat Stadium to see the ball game. And of course, I'm going to look forward to wearing my Met T-shirt and hat. Let's go Mets.
We have talked about this in the studio, Becky, and it's very difficult. So when I do the basket for him, we're not putting any, even though he likes it, though. See, you have to get to know me for this client. I don't want to encourage certain things in my friend. So one of those three words will not be Mets. I don't know what it's going to be, Jeff Miller, but it's not going to be Mets.
That's funny.
Steve Goodman. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it to a close because I'm starting to sweat in here. We're getting kind of close on a Friday afternoon. Thank you so much, Becky. I look forward to meeting you and learning more about redefining the customer experience, and we can talk about it. Jeff Miller, as always, it's my greatest part of the week to have you in the studio.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Becky.
I will talk to you guys next time and talk to you next week. From Podcast Village, it's Charlie Burney.
The Jeff Miller Show is brought to you by Podcast Village, located at Launch Workplaces in Gaithersburg, Maryland. If you would like to contact Jeff or Charlie, please tweet to @Podcast Village or @JeffMillConsult. You can also email Jeff at jeff@jmconsultingalliance.com. What story would you like to tell?